Guys. I'd like to welcome everyone here today to our Liveability Governance and Finance Standing Committee meeting and ask there are any apologies or leave of absence. I note the Mayor's leave of absence and I see everybody else is here by their smiling faces. Would somebody like to move by Councillor Jones, seconded Councillor Potter? All in favour? Carried unanimous. Recognition of traditional owners. Thank you, Councillor Duff.
Thank you, Acting Chair. I'd like to acknowledge country and the land where we meet this morning, the Waka land, and acknowledge the elders both past, present and emerging. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any declarations of interest?
Acting Chair, I'll go first. I'm an executive member of the Kingaroy Rotary Club, and the presentation and item 5 involves the Kingaroy Rotary Club, so I will step out while that presentation is being made.
Thank you. Are there any further declarations of interest? Thank you. We'll go on now with item 5 on page 6, deputation from the South Burnett Support Alliance. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors, for your letter that we received in July 21, which says that you are taking action to research the old community building and how the state might actually be able to hand it over to you. So I appreciate that very much. My name's Marietta Wetzick. I'm the Secretary of the South Burnett Support Alliance, and today I hope to enthuse you to see the value of this building and how you, by supporting the South Burnett Support Alliance, setting up a drop-in centre in that very building will put you in the same league as people like the Melbourne City Council, because they support the 641 Centre, which is in the centre of Melbourne, around fancy shops and classy restaurants. We have a more local example of a drop-in centre amongst fancy shops and local restaurants, and that's our own Protea Place in Toowoomba. And I have to tell you, they are very keen to support us in setting up our own similar drop-in centre here in Kingaroy. It's not about opening up the room and letting anyone in to do what they want. It's about creating a safe space and providing activities and services that gives those who enter the building a feeling of being valued, worthwhile and capable. It's not about letting people like anything go. It's about setting high standards in multiple ways to support the notion that these people are worthwhile. The space will be attractive, the activities will be relaxing, and the expected standards of behaviour will be high. There won't be any smoking near the buildings, there will be no swearing, no raised voices, because this is a safe space for all of us. To be clear, it's not about providing a place to sleep, right? And you know, it's a common observation that people who value a place will not mess it up. The people who want to use a safe space to relax, connect, and try new ways to access support are not going to deface, defecate, and destroy the building or the surrounds. They appreciate it. There is more chance of drunken patrons from our 3 local pubs to provide us with unseemly behaviour. And you, the councillors, know that we have a homeless problem in Kingaroy, and more people are struggling both financially and emotionally. I know that because I read your 23-24 operational plan, and you are trying to address these issues with actions stated on pages 20, 22 and 24, just to prove that I read it. And you know that this problem is not going away. So how do we mitigate it? To do that, first we have to understand the related issues of homelessness, safety concerns, sense of loneliness, sense of isolation, sense of self-worth, hunger, financial stress. We at South Burnett Support Alliance cannot give them a home or money, but we can address all the other issues. It starts with finding an easy, centrally located drop-in centre. Homeless people need to have easy access to resources. And in this special place, they can find a few hours a day to feel safe. And in a safe place, they can be amongst people who are in similar circumstances. They realise that they are not alone. Having a chat with their peers can help build connections, maybe even make new friends. Having a cuppa and a meal will warm their bellies. Over time, we then hope to provide guidance and support to connect these people to a service agency that might be of help to them. It might be just helping them fill out forms, accompanying them to the Service Australia, getting them to ring particular service provider. There are so many here in Kingaroy. There's got to be one that can help. Councillors, this project will be part of supporting the community well-being, both the visitors who seek the service, but also for those of us who want to be there to help. There's a great deal of satisfaction in life that comes from being of service. This will provide assistance for homeless people as they find out that they are valued, and it's okay to ask for help. It's an important strategy to help address people who feel alone and isolated. They might not, and through that they might not choose to commit suicide. The Council and South Burnett Support Alliance can work together with the guidance and support of the Protea Place to help achieve the goals of improving the livability and lifestyle in Kingaroy. We can make a difference by working together to create a centrally located drop-in centre. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Marietta. Yeah, no, that'll be fine. Yeah, they do. No.
Yeah, just through you, Chair. Your hours of operation, Marietta, can you just give us a roundhouse figure? I know it's a long way down the track. You've got to get a purpose and all that sort of stuff. But yeah.
If we've got to be realistic, first we've got to have the financial backing resources so that we can have a paid staff member to oversee, and we then have to know, okay, what can we physically manage? Protea Place started with from 10 till 2, 2 days a week, and now they've gone to 3 days a week. And Amanda Dalton put in a lot of work to, based on her experience, to know that. I mean, I hope that our goal is to do it 5 days a week at least, and we want to be consistent. That's one of the things that I have heard, that individuals set up different things, but they're not there the next week. So if the very least, if we can start with the minimum, 3 hours every Friday, right, then it's predictable, right? People know, okay, every Friday there's somewhere we can do, and then we can add in Wednesday. Does that answer your question? Sorry, I didn't get your name.
Yeah, no, it does, and you're dead right. They need consistency and something
Yeah.
that's there every week. They know they can go there. So when you say paid staff member and all that sort of stuff, so if hypothetically in a perfect world you get the venue across the road, what do you do? How do you raise your money, or where do you secure your money to continue that staff member and build on that? Because if your hours expand, you're going to need more than, as you've just highlighted, we've got a big issue with homelessness and mental health and all that. So you will require a number of people. So how do you plan, or what's your plan to?
We do. We know that we've got access to lots of volunteers, so the paid staff will sort of oversee to make sure that, the whole system comes together. We know that there are lots of generous organisations just in the South Bend alone who want to be philanthropic. We will tap in through sponsorship and donations and approach people. There are people who, we can already have the Sunday lunch. You know about our Sunday lunch service? Okay, so the pantry, so we will get the meals that way. There are people are wanting to donate now, so we won't be short of physical things to set up the space. The money, we have a sponsorship plan and approach people, and it'll be just a constant. We will have to approach and fundraise and do things all the time to keep on top so that we can keep this going into the future. I don't think that will ever be allowed to stop.
One last question, and I'll let you go.
Yeah.
If that venue was not available, or we couldn't secure it or whatever, and we were able to secure another venue somewhere else in town, obviously not as central as that, is that something that you'd consider as well?
Absolutely. Like, we just need to have a centrally located building. We just like that one in particular because it's got the public showers and toilets, and because we don't want to do what Protea Place does and only offer a service for women. It's by having that separate men's and women's showers there, that helps us address the issues, we think, of being able to open the doors to both men and women, because we don't have to provide the showers and the toilets inside our space. So it would just make it a hell of a lot less complicated for us.
So, Mary, can I just ask a question?
Sure.
What sort of services, actually practical services, do you envisage would be there?
Food, drink, craft.
Okay, so
So the people, it's about, and internet,
okay,
and telephone, so that we can get them to use us as a leg up. If through our connections with all the services around, we can access a counsellor, a counsellor to come every Tuesday for a couple of hours. We would go that way. That is part of the vision. You can't assume that right from the beginning, though.
Can I just suggest that one of the things that I believe people that are homeless need, I believe there are a lot of services that do give counselling, but one of the things that people who are homeless need are things like being able to go and wash their clothes, their sheets, access to, blankets and stuff like that, something like that. I mean, I understand what you guys are looking to do, but I just know that, we have libraries across the region that, people can go into and sit and, have company and all that. To me, I would think that something more practical for those basic needs, as I said, like
I forgot
being
to
able
tell
to
you
do
that
washing.
we've already been donated the washing machine, so that will be there. if we, I don't know if Orange Sky, if you've heard of Orange Sky, the mobile laundry, they actually supply all the washing machines and dryers at Protea Place and come in and service them for free. We're not sure whether they come out as far as Kingaroy, but we've already got the washing machine donated. So I'm sorry I didn't add that in my list of services. We will just continue doing whatever we can without stepping, not re-offering whatever else is already available. I will have to suggest to you that walking into a library is a scary thing if you don't feel that you're dressed right, if you're not clean, and you don't feel that you've got the mental capacity to cope with people who look official. So I understand that that is not a place that those people would automatically go to get connection. But if they go to a place where people they are in similar circumstances, like in the drop-in centre, then they might get that sense of, oh, okay, and relax, and their head space might open up to then grab a new suggestion, a new idea of how they can get a leg up to take themselves out of the circumstance. So I'm sorry to disagree with you. I really don't think that library is quite the answer.
Well, sorry, Councillor.
Thank you, Marietta, for your presentation and for meeting with us recently at the Community Engagement Day and providing a really strong overview of your strategic plan and your vision and your purpose and all of the things that you and your team have been working hard to put together. It was really impressive, so thank you. I understand, I guess my question to you is around advocacy, because I hear you say around funding opportunities, and I think that paid staff member would be critical to this being successful. I'm just wondering if, I guess extending if there is any, state minister or federal minister that perhaps we could be sort of starting to plant some seeds with around what funding opportunities there may be to help us with this project into the future, I think might be worthwhile. And I understand you're incorporated, so you could receive like government funds or philanthropy funds. FRRR have just released some funding for strengthening our communities, these sorts of things. And you're progressing DGR status. So I just wanted to, I guess my question for us as a council, I'm thinking that leadership piece in terms of providing that advocacy or trying to support you, do you have, or is there an opportunity perhaps to catch up around a table to sort of map out who might be worthwhile having some further conversations with around this idea, and how we might be able to work with you to get some funding to actually, because I think some of these activities are really key, and even if you don't have the place, having the person employed would be a great start, because I recognise you're all volunteers. So that's some of my thinking. Is it worthwhile? Would you be interested in meeting with council to discuss what advocacy we might be able to play in terms of getting some funding to help you with this grassroots idea, this pilot project, which I know governments love to hear about?
I'm excited that you made the suggestion. Like, we are open to new ideas at every level. So are we willing and ready? I have the president of the South Burnett Support Alliance in the room with me supporting me today. So yeah, we would love that, because we want to take this further, and we know we can't do it alone. That's why we need to talk and get all the ideas, and so thank you.
So we have actually, sorry, Councillor Duff, but we have actually run over our time, but we might maybe organise a meeting with you, with the council, a round table get together to have a further discussion on it.
And from whom will I expect the email or phone call?
Yep. Maybe we'll put Councillor Shoemaker. Yep. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I have one too, but
No, we're well over time, so we're going to, I know how you like to keep to the timetable. Councillor. So, again, on behalf of the councillors, I'd like to thank you for the presentation, congratulate you on what you're doing, because I think we're all concerned. We all know that that's an issue and we're all concerned. And thank you. Thanks for coming. So we're on now to item 6. Would somebody like to get CEO back in? Page 9. So we could probably do this without those two. The confirmation of minutes of the previous meeting. 6.1, would someone like to move their correct record? Councillor Shoemaker, seconded Councillor Duff. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Item 7, notices of motion on page 27. The first one, 7.1. I forget to turn the pages when I'm here. Notice of motion, Wandai Rail celebration. Councillor Duff has given notice that at the next Liveability, Governance and Finance Standing Committee of Council to be held on the 9th of August, I intend to move the following motion: that the committee recommends to Council provide $2,868.80 from Community Grants August funding round for a plaque and time capsule to unveil as part of the town's 120-year celebration of the train coming to Wandai, and that Council support their request for in-kind support of 1 marquee, 1 skip bin, 4 wheelie bins and 30 chairs. Do we have a mover?
Thank you.
Councillor
Yes,
Duff.
I'd like to move that. So, the committee,
Can we get a seconder for the motion? Councillor Potter.
so the committee has formed under the auspice of the Wandai Lions Club to celebrate the 120 years of the rail coming to Wandai. They are planning an event to unveil a plaque and a time capsule in Wandai near the Clock and Emu in Coronation Park. And they're wanting to hold the event on September the 14th, which is the exact day 120 years later. Noel Selway is passionate about Wandai and particularly the rail, and he's done a lot of research around it, and so he's driving this, and there's a small committee that have got behind him, and they asked me to come along, and I suggested that they get a community grant, but just the timelines, because of they need that money in time to run their event, and because our community grants round will end in the end of August, they're not going to have time to get that funding, so that's why I put it as a notice of motion to council. And the other thing is that they also are asking for some in-kind support, which is outside our policy, because I believe we only give money or in-kind, but not both normally. So, yeah, that's why I brought it to council.
Thank you, Councillor Duff. Councillor Henson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, look, these are important things. There's been some wonderful time capsules and things put around our South Burnett in different towns and villages, but I'm a little disappointed that this has come to Chambers and I've had no communication, and I'm not aware of any community consultation down there, and yet we're going to put a plaque and a capsule in the Coronation Park. Could Councillor Duff explain to me, like, with parks and gardens, I've know nothing about this. I've not been invited to anything. I'm led to believe there was a meeting yesterday, but I'm in the dark as to this, and it's all of a sudden we're getting a proposal in front of us, and that I might be supportive of, but I'm just bewildered as to no community consultation. How's this come about?
I think it came out very quickly, through you, Madam Chair. They, all of a sudden, they wanted to run this event. I think the reason why I got involved is the Parks and Gardens, and then we got the Parks and Gardens team down to see where they could put it, and they actually met with them, and there's a space near the emu, and so, yeah, that's why I've been involved, because of my Parks and Gardens portfolio, and they wanted to find out where they could put it, and I got Dallas came, and Leanne was involved, but she sent Dallas down to meet with the committee and find out where they could put it. So that kind of was happening separate to my involvement. But then I did get asked to come along to that meeting in the park. So, yeah. So not sure why the committee haven't reached out to you.
When was that meeting, Councillor Duff? It says here that the plan's been discussed with Parks and Gardens team, and a spot for the park has been decided after a meeting on site with the committee and representatives from the Parks and Gardens team. There was community members yesterday that were concerned that it's being put there.
Well, all I've been doing is just that the committee approached me to see what they could do.
There's been no community consultation, and it's being put beside the emu, which may be fine, but I had that conversation with people yesterday after the breakfast meeting, Councillor Duff, and they were bewildered as to why it's being put there. They didn't know anything about it.
Well, all I've done is just followed up from the committee when they've approached me for what they want me to do.
Well,
So,
correct me if I'm wrong, and through you, Madam Chair, but I thought it was a policy of this council to community consultation, and certainly councillors, I'm not sure that any other councillor was aware of what's been happening here, but look, the motion and the idea of it is fine, and I know it's short notice, but gee whiz, it's slinging a bit of mud in the face of some that have applied for things previously. So thank you, Madam Chair. That's all I've got to say.
I know we did have a small discussion on the roles of council, and I know I did have an occasion just recently where I was a little disappointed that something had happened in my division. So I don't actually know what the process is, but I believe that it is. I was under the impression that if something was happening in your division as a representative of that division, that it was just good manners for the councillor there to be notified and to participate in that. I mean, I'm open to be corrected if I'm wrong, but that was my impression.
Can I just move a point of order, Madam Chair, that we deal with the issue at hand here, the notice of motion, and the conversation that's being had. I think we can have that amongst ourselves at a later date. We can sort that issue out. So if we can just stick on the agenda and deal with the notice of motion then.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. So we've got a mover and a seconder. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Councillor Shoemaker.
I just wanted to check the allocation that we had put forward for the community, the August funding round for community grant. Do you know how much that is? And I just know those grants are always so heavily subscribed.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. So yeah, as Councillor Duff alluded to, that grant is out currently, and submissions closed 31st of August. We've got $100,000 this financial year, and so there's two rounds. I think last year it was undersubscribed. So yeah, but obviously with the timing, as Councillor Duff alluded to, it would be a council decision to go prior to the funding round closing.
Yep. Thank you for the context. Fully supportive of the motion. I know I was there when they pulled up the Warrulan time capsule with Councillor Henshin. It was pretty amazing to see the things that the community does put in those time capsules, and to see, how excited certainly my children were to have a look at the items in the Warrulan time capsule. So I'm sure this will be the same in Wondai. Really looking forward to. I cannot imagine what the town of Wondai looked like 120 years ago when the train came through, and I'm really looking forward to joining the community in that celebration. So while this is out of procedure, and I don't think we should make a habit of doing these things, I do believe it is a very worthwhile cause, and I would like to certainly support the Wondai community in getting this project up and running, and look forward to the celebration. So I'm supportive. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Shoemaker. Councillor Potter.
Thank you, Chair. Look, I think that this is, look, I do agree to this, but I'd just like to make sure that when we send them the letter, that all the rules and regulations according to our community grants applications are followed with regards to who they have to invite and things like that. So as long as those rules are followed.
Thank you, Councillor Potter. Councillor
Thank you,
Henson.
Madam Chair. Just for the gallery and the public and the chambers, I'm certainly not against this motion, just the process, and I thank Councillor Jones, and we'll have a discussion later on. But yeah, look, as Councillor Shoemaker's alluded to, the Wandai time capsule and the Cumbia one, just absolutely fantastic things. Whether we get to see them in 30 years' time or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, they're a great concept. So yeah, I'm fully supportive of it. Just the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Henson. Councillor Jones.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Chair. Totally 100% support it. I actually brought a notice of motion just recently on behalf of the Avocado Fest, and I thank all the other councillors for supporting it. So it's only the right thing to do to support Councillor Duff here. Can I just say that Councillor Henson, I did hear some of the comments. Can I maybe suggest that Councillor Henson and Councillor Duff go back down there very quickly and just talk about the location, because there is concerns around, because it's to do with the rail, they believe that it's up in the park near the emu and it should be down somewhere more closer to the siding where the actual station was. Just a suggestion, and if you want to take that up, I think you'll have time, because it's not until September and it's only a matter of moving the hole. So can I suggest that the both of you get together, go down there and have a quick consultation or whatever with parks, whatever you need to do? But fully supportive and think it's a great idea.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. Do you want to close?
Right, a reply. Yeah, happy to do that. I think that's a good idea, just to make sure everyone's on the same page with the location. Yep, thank you.
There's no further discussion. We'll put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Now to 7.2, notice of motion. It's on page 34 on the Councillor Duff give notice at the next Liveability Governance and Finance Standing Committee of Council. Committee recommends to Council that Council introduces a permit system for hobbyists, breeders and dog exhibitors with the following conditions. Hobbyist, breeder and dog exhibitor is defined by a person on more than 4.5 acres with 12 or less dogs who breeds and exhibits for non-commercial purposes. The permit would allow for registration of up to 10 dogs for a period of 12 months. Registrations would be updated yearly. Each dog registration would cost the same as what is listed on the current schedule of fees, to be capped at $240 for a total of 12 dogs. This permit can only be given to a person who holds a current financial Nanango Kennel Club membership or Burnett Kennel Club membership and Dogs Queensland membership. A yearly permit fee of $250 would be charged. Conditions for maintaining a permit are that the permit holder must remain compliant with Dog Queensland rules and regulations and have no unresolved complaints with the South Bennett Regional Council. Councillor
I'd like
Duff.
to move that, Madam Chair.
I just looking at that, Councillor Duff, before we look for someone to second the motion, I really feel that the matter should probably be lay on the table for the point that we are going to be reviewing our local laws on dog registrations. There are a number of matters on our local laws. So I just don't know that this is probably the time to discuss one section of this. I think I'd like to see it laid on the table until we discuss the whole dog registration. I'll move that we lay it on the table. Can we have a seconder for that? Councillor Henson? We don't have discussion. Go ahead. All those in favour? 5-2. Sorry. Oh no, it's unanimous. Are you? Okay. So it's carried 5-1.
Acting Chair, the only thing I would add to that, and it's just a procedural, we'll bring that back in October then when the other one comes back.
Yes.
So they're both together.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you. So, 8 on our order of business, on page 36, is the portfolio corporate governance and strategy, people and cultural communication and media, finance and sustainability, ICT and business systems, community representation and advocacy, 2032 Olympics and Para Olympics, page 36. So, Acting Mayor Jones.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Chair. I guess I'd just like to present this as presented to the chamber today, and happy to take any questions. And my first venture into this portfolio, I will rely heavily on my general managers if there is any questions to be asked and answered. So I'd like to move that the portfolio for corporate governance and strategy, people and culture, communication and media, finance and sustainability, ICT, business systems, community representation and advocacy, 2032 Olympics and Paralympics be received for the month of August. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Duff. Any questions anyone would like to put to Acting Mayor Jones? All those in favour of the motion? Carried unanimously. Number 9, 8.2 on page 42. Councillor to nominate a delegate for the upcoming Webrock AGM. The committee recommends to council that the CEO, Acting Mayor Jones, and we need another nomination to be nominated as delegates on behalf of the South Bennett Regional Council. So do we have a nomination for the delegate, further delegate?
Can I nominate myself? I'm happy to go as a delegate.
Councillor Duff, do we take? You're moving that your nomination be accepted.
I'm moving that my nomination be accepted.
Do we need a seconder for that?
Chair, it would be then that would be the CEO, Acting
Yep.
Mayor and Councillor Duff be nominated, so she'd be moving the whole resolution. Yep.
So we're not looking to take further nominations for that?
You can discuss it, but that's what the councillor moved. So, yeah, so you'd be calling for a seconder.
So I'm looking for a seconder for that motion. Seconded by Councillor Shoemaker. Does anyone like to speak on that? All those in favour? It's carried unanimously. So item 9, the portfolio community development, arts, heritage and library services on page 43.
Yep.
Councillor
Potter.
Potter.
Thank you, Chair. Look, if you go through my portfolio report, there's quite a bit in there. You know, we must sort of put it out there a little bit more that the first round of the Council's Community Grants Program is opened. It opened on the 1st of August and will close on the 31st of August. So Council has hosted information sessions around the region to support community groups in understanding the grant categories and applying through Smarty Grants and project planning. So if groups would like more information, please contact the Executive Assistant of Liveability for more information. The Youth Council is going really well. And once again, they call out for local bands between the ages of 14 and 24 to compete in this year's Pig Jam. So far, we've got 6 bands competing, which is really wonderful for Pig Jam. And we've got the winners from last year performing in between those. So we've got Sparrow coming back. And also, in addition to that, we've got the Pigs Can Fly art competition, which is fantastic. It's being judged next Tuesday afternoon. And so far to date, we have 14 pieces of art for that, which I think is just wonderful. And the Youth Council has done a great job. So we've also got the team are once again collaborating with CTC in your town to ensure that this event is a great success. So at O'Neill Square during Bacon Fest from 2 o'clock on, it's a free event, sausage sizzle, popcorn and everything like that. So to have CTC in your town involved in this again, it's just wonderful. And it's a nice break from Bacon Fest. So if you just want somewhere to sit, relax, listen to music, you can go up there to O'Neill Square. We've also got the Black Summer Bushfire Grants, which we did NAIDOC Day. And we also supported Craig's to host a morning tea for our local elders. And also the Community Development Team have kicked off the Winter Warmers program, which will be hosted in 4 towns across the Burnett, including Cloyna, Nango, Proston, Warrulan, and this is focused on health and wellbeing. They're encouraged to try different exercise programs, including Tai Chi, chair yoga, and mountain bike riding. These activities cater to various fitness levels and preferences, ensuring there is something there for everyone. There's cooking demonstrations from CWA to show everyone how to prepare simple, nutritious meals. And also 100 guests were entertained and inspired by the football legends Shane Webke, Darius Boyd and Ben Hannett. And I must thank Councillor Jones, Acting Mayor Councillor Jones, for doing such a wonderful job with emceeing that event out at the Kingaroy Men's Shed. And also the South Burnett Regional Council has committed to provide support for 10 community members who reside in the South Burnett to complete a Certificate 3 in Health Service Assistance through the Rural Medical Education Australia's Kingaroy Clinic Training Centre. Connect and Grow Scholarships is a proactive and community-orientated approach to address our community's healthcare challenges. So this is the aim, to develop a capable and sustainable local health workforce through upskilling community members that already reside in the area, in the areas of need within the health sector. So our library services, they're pretty amazing, our libraries. So they've been outreaching to Arana. They've been going to different places, doing rhyme time and story time. And also the staff have actually done a course dealing with difficult customer training. I think I might need that myself, actually. The staff has also attended the CTC's Get Set Ready for Work program to deliver a resume cover and letter writing seminar to nine attendees. And also for connections made as a result of the Library Association with the South Burnett Partnerships for Kids library staff attend Cuppa and Chat, hosted by Senecare at the Biscuit Tin, and staff will talk about programs and services available at the library whilst learning more about what's offered at Centrecare. So movie mornings, so beginning on Saturday the 12th of August, the Kingaroy Library will be hosting movie mornings for families looking for some fun-free events on the weekends, and those who wish to attend are invited to bring their own pillow and blanket to ensure they are comfortable for the screening. And the library will actually have a stall at Bacon Fest, and that will be a beautiful place if you want to just sit down with your child and read a book and just relax for a little bit. And they'd love to see you there, so pop into that one. And also the Book Week Mad Hatter's Tea Party. This year the libraries are taking Book Week to a whole new level by hosting a series of Mad Hatter tea parties at each branch. The Alice in Wonderland theme encourages imagination and play, with attendees invited to dress as their favourite character from the book or any book of their choosing. There will be stories and biscuit decorating for those interested to encourage them to keep an eye on the library's social media channels for sessions, dates and times. So keep an eye out, that should be pretty exciting actually. And in addition to the celebration planned for each library, library staff will also attend the Wheatland State School Book Week Parade on Friday the 18th to assist in judging the best dressed students. And also the Father's Day Story Time. The Kingaroy Library will host a special Father's Day Story Time on Saturday the 2nd of December from 10 a.m. Families are invited to a morning tea, stories, craft and activities to celebrate all of the wonderful dads and granddads and carers in our community. So that's, you know, that just shows how much our libraries are doing, and they are pretty amazing. So thank you very much. I'd like to move that my report be accepted.
Thank you, Councillor Potter. Seconder for that. Put Councillor Henson. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions or comments they'd like to make? Councillor Shoemaker.
Thank you, Councillor Potter, for your comprehensive report, and there's some wonderful things happening in your portfolio. Those health traineeships are an amazing opportunity for 10 local people. That's excellent. I just had a question. I see in the Youth Council meeting minutes you were discussing a potential youth expo or youth summit for years 10 to 12 for all schools in the South Burnett, and I just wondered if you had any further information about it, if that was an idea from the youth group, and what kind of things were happening in that space. And I also see the Youth Council provided some input into our climate change advocacy action plan, which was really exciting, and just keen on any insights you might have from the Youth Council from the discussions that you've had.
Through you, Chair, we actually haven't had that discussion yet. That was just brought up, and it was asked of the Youth Council if they're willing to be involved in that. So that's something that we've yet to bring to them through the CEO. So he'll be coming and we'll be having a chat with the Youth Council with regards to the Climate Action Plan. With regards to the Youth Summit, we're looking at getting Will back again, who did the leadership course with our team, and actually doing some sessions, because what he does is he's just an amazing person. He started his business early, and he's just one of the most amazing people just to sit and listen to. So, and kids, and he encourages kids, and he's just amazing. So we're trying to get Will back from the Australian Leadership Foundation. So hopefully that's a goer, and we're still working in that state. So I think we're just trying to get over Bacon Fest and the Pig Jam and the art competition, and then we'll start working a little bit more towards the Youth Summit. So I'd have to probably check with Margie as to where the Youth Summit action is at.
Thank you. For anybody online who doesn't know, you can download the agendas, and these reports are all in the agendas. So it's quite interesting to see how much is happening that is probably not covered here. It's just given the short story here, but all those reports are online. So if there's no further discussion on that, is everyone in favour? Carried unanimously. So we're now on to the 9.2 Community and Lifestyle Operational Update on page 48. So the recommendation is that the Community and Lifestyle Operational Update be received. Do I have a mover? Councillor Potter, seconder. Councillor Duff. The attachments are all there. Does anyone have any comments or questions?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Just one here on page 56, the South Burnett Western Performance Club Incorporated Lot B, awaiting response on draft release terms. And I guess this is probably it, and happy to question or notice, where are we at with that request for the funding and all that sort of stuff, Mr. CEO or Jen, for that Western Pleasure in the Nango? Can I just, question on notice? Yeah, thank you.
Councillor Jones, I believe they have a big banner done up that they took into the Heritage Bank, so they must be pretty happy with where they're going. Also, just on these reports, just so that everyone knows, I know that the Nanango District Netball Association are just celebrating 40 years of netball in Nanango. So as I said previously, that all these reports are actually on our website with the agenda that if you'd like to download them, you can see the things that are happening in our area. So if there are any further questions on that? Sorry, Councillor Potter.
Yep, I'd just like to take everyone to page 51 to look at what the library has done. It's got all the stats there for the library. So they've had 13,010 visitors to the libraries, and I think that's pretty incredible with our staff. So I'd just like to big shout out to our library staff because they do such a wonderful job in our community. Thank you.
I did actually have occasion to stop into Wondai Library yesterday, and it was watching the library staff conducting a little music and song session with a number of children, and I can tell you that they were all enjoying it along with their parents and carers. It was very nice. So if there's no further comment on that, all in favour of the accepting the report? Carried unanimously. So we're now on to 40 page. Okay, I'm lost. 59, sorry. Item 10, Community Development, Health, Youth and Senior Citizens. 59. The renewal of licence agreement with Baramba Aero Club. The officer's recommendation is the committee recommend to council that South Bennett Regional Council, in accordance with S2361B2 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, enter into a licence agreement with the Baramba District Aero Club Incorporated for Areas 6 and 11 as part of Lot 5 on RP 83495 for a term of 4 years with an option for 5 years for a rental amount of $287.95 plus GST per annum with annual CPI reviews. 2, the South Bennett Regional Council delegates to the Chief Executive Officer the power to negotiate, finalise and execute the licence to occupy between Council and Baramba District Aero Club Incorporated on terms and conditions the Chief Executive Officer considers as satisfactory to Council. Do we have a mover for that motion? Councillor Potter, seconded Councillor Duff. Any comments? Councillor Shoemaker.
Just a question for the General Manager Brooks. Just wondering in terms of the maintenance of this facility under the licence to occupy, is it similar? Oh, Jen, you're here. Thank you. Is it similar to Kingaroy, or how does the maintenance of the Wondai facility actually work? Does this club undertake all of that work?
Through the chair, so the General Airport, the Baramba and District Aero Club undertakes some work there. They do some of the mowing. They facilitated a burn off the other day for the area outside the runway strip. Generally keep an eye on the facility. In return, council obviously offers 3 licence areas, this being the 3rd to be renewed, including part of the terminal building, which is actually their sort of clubhouse for a concessional rental. But with regards to things like servicing of the lighting, serviceability inspections, monitoring the surfaces, upgrading aprons, taxiways, that sort of thing, council maintains all that responsibility as well, very similar to Kingaroy. So we have a capital works project, for instance, this year to do the car park and turnaround. So that's all council responsibility.
Yeah, thank you. Just wanted to confirm that. By all means, fully supportive of the renewal of the licence agreement. Would actually really welcome an opportunity, if there is one, to actually go and meet with the club at the facility. I haven't actually been inside the gate. I've been on the outside of the gate peering in, but it'd be wonderful just to have a better understanding of the facility in itself. So if that might be something where councillors may be able to go and meet with the club at the facility, I'd really welcome that opportunity.
Through the chair, so there's a big meet coming up in a couple of weeks, which is probably a good time to go when it's a hive of activity. It can be pretty quiet out there sometimes, so perhaps we could align that suits council's needs.
That would be fantastic. Yes, every time I've been by, there's been nobody there, so it would be really great if there is a meeting there, if those details can be shared. Really welcome the opportunity to go along. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for the is there any further questions on it? Councillor Jones?
Yeah, so this group leases one hangar at the airport, is that correct? Two?
Through the chair, so areas 6 and 11.
6 and 11, sorry.
There's
Yep.
2 areas but 1 hangar space, so they've built the hangar over two surveyed areas.
Yeah.
They, in addition, a couple of months ago, maybe earlier in this year, late last year, we renewed the other 2 licenses. One is for a Donga sort of style building, which is their sort of clubhouse, and then one is for a licensed occupier for, as I said, part of the terminal building. So we have 3 licenses altogether with the group.
So is this the main group that operates out at the airport, Jen?
Yes, through the chair, that's correct. This is one of the main recreational groups there. There are also other private hangar owners there that are part of the club, but are licensees in their own right.
So they're paying $287.95 plus GST per year for a 4-year with an option of 5 years for a rental amount. So that's a pretty good deal. Pretty good deal. Yeah, okay, I'm good. Thank you.
So happy to just address the rental. So the rental is a carry-on from the previous year's rent payment. I think it was originally negotiated at $1 per square metre plus CPI, and that is why it's an odd number. And we're just putting a recommendation that we continue that rental arrangement as they are a not-for-profit, but it's at above not-for-profit concessional rate, so it's a balance.
Thank you. Any further questions on that? So put that to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. So we're now on to item 11.1, page 62. The tourism and development, which is my portfolio report. So I'll just give a quick rundown. I think I've been in council about 14 months now, and I feel I'm getting a little more confident in my role and enjoying my role here. Since being in here, I did purchase a well-loved motorhome, which I'm sure you've all seen me in. And it gives me an opportunity to go travel across the region to meetings. When we have meetings early, I can go the night before. So I get the opportunity to speak to many visitors in the region, and many have expressed a desire to make a donation for the use of some of these free facilities that we have. And I've spoken to staff who are going to look into the practicality of providing a way for them to be able to make a donation. I know at times we have had the tins, but they tend to not be secure. So staff are going to look at how we can do some type of card system to allow people to make a donation. These visitors, are like those who attend the area for many sporting fixtures in the region, are very beneficial to the area, and they do inject a healthy boost to the economy. Visit South Burnett and Local Tourism Association have been very active in the region and are keen to work with the local visitor information centres, who are manned by our hard-working volunteers, and they are also doing a fabulous job for promoting tourism in our region. So on the 6th of July, we had representatives from 3 of our major employers in the South Burnett, and they gave a talk on what their businesses gave to the area to our volunteers. There was a huge number of volunteers present at the forum, and the feedback's been excellent. And they're stating that they're now better equipped to be able to talk to visitors. Not only did everyone enjoy the forum, but also the opportunity to mix with and get to know volunteers from other regions, I think, which is very beneficial. We're having coming up the day at the Dam with the music festival, and I know that I'm looking very forward to attending that and hope to see a great number of people attend. I'm also pleased that we recently had funding for all councillors for some resilience for our community, and I held my first grooving in the gardens at the historic Ringsfield House, and that was a great day. And we have another 2 of those events, and I know that I have spoken to other councillors, and I'm looking forward to the forecourt event in Kingaroy and the wool wash pool. I knew it was close, on the 2nd of December, and still waiting for the other councillors to let us know what they're going to be having. Out at the dams are both well presented, and on the previous report you've seen the attendance is right up. There are newly completed carports at the cabins at BP, and which means our visitors have a space to park their cars and their boats. The sale yards, I recently stopped at Coolabunnya sale yard for their sale, as I'd been away when the new yards were completed. I had the opportunity to check them out. They're a much needed improvement to the facility. Council recently hosted the Coolabunnya sale yards working group meeting, and issues were discussed, including moving sale days to Tuesday afternoons when sale numbers are low. The aerodromes, along with Councillor Potter, I attended the annual general meeting dinner at the Kingaroy Airport with the Soaring Club. It's a club with a long history and long-term members covering generations who are extremely proud of their club. Council recently attended the Kingaroy Airport Users Group meeting to discuss upcoming projects and events. And if you have driven past and seen the gliders out there, stop and have a look. It's always a great thing. Sport and recreation, we proudly sponsored 2 local sports people who were Alex Redcliffe, who was selected as a team member of the Queensland Representative School Sports Swimming Team, and Zach Douglas, who is representing Australia at the Australian Futsal Tour. As I said earlier, the Netball Association is celebrating 40 years, and we have had the South Burnett have some great success over the years with players from the region representing at different levels. I was also recently invited to the Nanango Golf Club. They celebrated their 75-year celebrations, and I note that the South Burnett Mental Health Golf Challenge, organised by Councillors Jones and Henshin, is going to be held at Nanango on the 19th of August. So all those golfers, or good golfers or not so good golfers, are invited to participate. They're doing a fabulous job, and they've raised over $50,000 towards mental health. And I'd also like to make mention that the Nanango Bowls Club next weekend is celebrating. There's some discrepancy as to what year they're celebrating, but it's a 75 years plus celebration next weekend. I'd like to move that my report be accepted. Seconded by Councillor Henshin. Does anyone have any questions?
Just
Thank you.
basically, through you, Chair, down at Wandai yesterday, and it's to do with tourism and the rail trail and whatnot. So a question through you to, I guess, either Jen or Aaron or something like that, in regards to the upgrades to the drainage and the earthworks that we're proposing in Coronation Park in Wandai. Gentleman Graham, the president, has got a business in the main street of Wandai and has considerable amount of trouble with push bike enthusiasts that use the rail trail coming and parking in front of his business for 4 or 5 hours, particularly on Saturday mornings and Sundays, and the local people can't get a car park, and it's affecting his business. So we're just wondering, and Councillor Henson can take this further, whether or not we can incorporate something and move some parking around, or put some designated parking in for cars with push bike trailers. So it is a concern down there in the centre of the Wondai Business CBD in regards to weekend push bike enthusiasts and all that on that rail trail. So, yeah.
Through you, Madam Chair. So as part of the Wondai Streetscape project, I might just talk to James and we might put a guide sign in each of the streets and just point out where the parking would be. Coronation Park would be a much better choice for them. So not taking up the CBD, but we'll happily follow that up and add it to that. Just I think if you can put a sign up to tell people to go over that way, that would be most helpful. So happy to take those feedback.
Councillor Henson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, just a question, and I guess through you, Madam Chair, to Jen perhaps. We were away at the Coolabunga Sales meeting when we were down in Gundawindi to the conference, but there was 9 odd dot points, and I'm happy to take that on notice, just as what happened with that conversation around those 9 dot points that were presented to us prior to that meeting, if that's possible, Madam Chair. They're there. I'm sure we all got the email back on the 21st of July where the dot points were. So happy if you just take that on notice. Get an update on that. Thanks, Jen. Unless you've got something for me right now.
I'm happy to run through the meeting minutes very quickly if that's of all help, and or also bring a report back. So the items for discussion were the options for moving the Coolabunga sale from Thursdays to Tuesdays if the sale numbers are insufficient. Council and agents are going to work together to try and work out the timing of that so we can put adequate staffing on because it's a Tuesday afternoon, and agents are aware of our restrictions of letting staff work late. So we're just working collaboratively to that. There'll be a report coming in the September Standing Committee about the waiving of some fees. So I'm going to leave that one to that reports, and we can show the full financial implications clearly. The end of sale process from council and Outcross. So basically at the end of the sale, after all the buyers have been through the bottom office, we close the sale off, and that allows all the reports to be released out of the software. However, sometimes there's changes and therefore the sale needs to be reopened. So we're just refining that process. We are trying to also work with buyers, particularly to limit the number of changes, just because of the administration time. So we're just always looking for those efficiencies. We're going back to Outcross about putting more information, particularly withholding periods and ESIs on the selling sheets to help agents to ensure that we're being responsible in our I guess, supply chain management of ensuring that stock that have a HGP or that they're under withholding are not getting mixed up with non-withholding cattle, and therefore we're not having contaminated stock ending up at, say, a abattoir being slaughtered when they shouldn't be. Agents have asked for different reporting options. One agent wants one set of reporting options, the other wants a different one. So we're just working with them just to basically get the software to do what is being asked of it, and for the agents to give us feedback on exactly what they would like. We're just asking everybody to log out of the computer out there because we got caught out at the last sale where the computer hadn't been turned off for a while and it needed to do an update, and we lost 45 minutes before the sale. So we're just more mindful again, looking for those efficiencies. Agents staffing at the backyard. So agents have agreed to provide more staff just to keep that end of sale process going and repenning. So the yards are not the best design, but we're just looking again for those efficiencies to get cattle through the scales, repenned, and where possible out of the sale yards as fast as possible. We have changed the locks on the scales office and offered the agents the separate room that's behind the canteen for their office. So there's delineation between the agents area and council area, just to again increase efficiency. We're working with our tick inspector to make sure that they have all the correct information at crush side, so we can make sure we're not dipping cattle unnecessarily and we're dipping as efficiently as possible, particularly in the winter months as we have a 3 p.m. cut-off due to the cool weather. And the other items were looking at the bull sales that are coming up and ensuring that pens were adequately cleaned and ready to go, and the troughs are dropped, but the pens have time to dry, so bulls are not standing in wet weather, in wet soil, and potentially causing, hoof injuries and things like that. So that's pretty much it, but happy to circulate the minutes so you can have a more in-depth look if that's of help.
Councillor Shoemaker.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Erkins, for the report. Some wonderful things in there. I did have the pleasure of joining the volunteers at the volunteer forum that morning, and I know the presentations that were actually given by Cromptons and Plenty and Swickers, that I couldn't stay on for the Swickers and the rail trail one, but what I learned was really amazing. So really do value those opportunities, and just wanted to thank our team who put together that day. I just note the improvements to the dam. It's really exciting to see those carports have finally been put up. I know that's been something we've been talking about for quite some time. And, I think the air conditioners and the fly screens are sort of really basic things that really improves the standard of people's stay when they do stay at the cabins. I was really keen to actually get out. There's been a number of discussions over this term of council about those cabins and the commercialisation of BP and Bundoomba and how we may be able to grow it into the future. And I know with the Day on the Dam coming up, that's really exciting. Just flagging, would really like an opportunity, if the team is out there doing any work on BP Dam or Bundoomba, to actually go and have a look firsthand. I think it's really amazing the journey those facilities have been on, certainly since the beginning of this term to where they are to date. And it has been some time since I've been out and had a look. So just, I guess, flagging, I know got a lot out of when we went and had a look at the sale yard improvements at Coolabunnya. Would really value if the team are out there and doing some work, if there was an opportunity to have a look. I think that would be really excellent, because it does inform our decisions about future capital. Also just wanted to give a shout out, because I understand those carports were actually funded with through a funding program. They weren't actually council funds. So I just think that's excellent for our team to sort of see from the beginning, where we were having this discussion about carports and trying to fit them into our capital program, and unfortunately something had to give, to sort of where we are now with external funding sources and being able to really grow those facilities. So just wanted to say thank you, and really would love to have a look at it firsthand.
Thank you. Councillor Duff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just on the request from the Wando Business Association with the parking, I actually put a customer request in, and the general manager, me, and there'll be a request in the system, and it's got the contact number for Graham, and the suggestion was to actually put it down right opposite the free stopover, like just put line marking all the way down there, and just a sign to say parking down there. That's where he had suggested that particular space. They're parking in front of his place, but just further down on the opposite side. So just so you know that there's a request in the system. Yeah.
Thank you. If there are no further questions on the matter, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Councillor Henson, do you have a... We might break now. It's 10:15. We might break now from morning tea, back at 10:30. 10:30. Moved by Councillor Henson, seconded by Councillor Potter. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Someone like to move we recommence the meeting? Moved Councillor Henson, seconded Councillor Duff. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. So we're now up to item 12 on the agenda, page 66. The summary is consideration be given to host the 2024 Queensland Information Centre Association Conference in the South Burnett. The officer's recommendation is the committee recommend to council that an expression of interest be submitted to host the 2024 QICA conference. Do we have a mover? Move Councillor Potter, seconded Councillor Jones. So I'd like to speak on. I think it's a pretty exciting opportunity, and I really would look forward to it. I would also like to make sure that we involve Visit South Burnett in the program, but I think we've got some absolutely amazing attractions just in our information centres across the South Burnett, and how wonderful opportunity it would be to showcase those features, the timber museum, the motors, the peanuts here in Kingaroy. It's a great opportunity, so I'm pretty excited and would love to see that. So Councillor Shoemaker.
Yeah, absolutely fully support your comments, Councillor Erkins. There's plenty to see in the region, and I was just going to note at the recent LGAQ Bush Councils Convention in Gundawindi, it was estimated some over $100,000 is what the Gundawindi Regional Council put out in promotion that was actually generated, economic benefit that they're generated in the town of Gundawindi just by having delegates, about 200 delegates stay. So just wanted to point out that opportunity like this, while yes, council invests time, talent and treasure in making it a reality, the payback is so much greater, and I think we really saw that in Gundawindi, and I really think we've got a great story to tell to the Quicker Conference, who would take the message across the region. So thanks for bringing it forward.
Councillor Duff.
Thank you. Yeah, I 100% support this, and I think it'll be really great because some of our visitor information centres have been struggling, and if we can get that sort of intellect to the South Burnett to actually get maybe, when you have a conference, you start to understand what the opportunities are. So some of our visitor information centres across the South Burnett will probably get a real boost to hear and mix with a lot of other people who are involved with visitor information centres to get some ideas of how we can get more support, get more people going through them, the value of them. So I think it's a great opportunity. Thank you.
Further on what Councillor Shoemaker said on the benefit it brings, I know that Councillor Potter and myself were on our way to a cheap shop to buy a cheap cake of soap and passed a dress shop in Gundawindi and contributed to the economic development of their town. Councillor Jones.
Yes, I think I made comment on that post, Councillor, about local buy. I thought you were supposedly very behind. Anyway, look, I totally agree, and I don't think as a region we should undersell ourselves, and I don't know any history, Mr CEO, whether we've ever put forward the South Burnett as far as hosting a bush conference in particular. But in regards to this QICA, I'll draw your attention to the last two lines, that in 2002 the conference was held in Noosa, and in 2023 this year it's held at Agnes Waters. And this is what a region like ours continually fights against. They all want to go down that coastal fringe and all that sort of stuff. We need this sort of opportunity and put our name forward to drag them into the beautiful South Burnett. So I fully support this and think it's a great idea.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. Councillor Potter.
Thank you for that, Chair. And now my husband will probably find out what I bought in Gundy. So thank you for that. But look, no, this is a great opportunity. I think for our visitor information centres and for the whole of the South Burnett, when you look at what they did at Noosa on the program there, we can include so many different things, including the bunyias and the dams. So I just think this is probably an amazing opportunity for us as the South Burnett Regional Council to support something for our area. Thank you.
Well, I think if councillor enthusiasm is part of the submission, we're in with a good shot. So if there's no further comment, Councillor Henson.
Acting Chair, through you. Yes, look, great initiative, and as Councillor Jones has said, when you're competing against Agnes Waters and 1770, we need to get them out here. Whether that would hold us in good stead for the likes of the Bush Council, and we came away from Gundy with that conversation on the tips of our tongues, and that would be a sensational draw card as well. That might hold us in good stead if we could get this conference out here with the QICA as a stepping stone towards the Bush Council sometime down the track, because they're only every 2 years, as everyone's aware now. But yeah, great. We're all excited about it, but then there would be many other names go into the hat for this, that's for sure. Thank you.
Of course, one of the benefits, we don't have any sandy beaches, so they don't have to worry about getting sand in their knickers on the beach. So if there's no further discussion, all those in favour? Carried unanimously. Sorry, item 13, page 71. It was a request for information. Mayor Otto requested information on Council's role within negotiations of tenure for the Wandai Rifle Range. The summary, the Department of Tourism, Innovation and Sport, Department of Resources and Department of Environmental Science have been working towards understanding the complexity of the tenure arrangements for the Wandai Rifle Club. And the report is there. Would someone like to move that the report is accepted? Received? Moved by Councillor Potter. Seconded by Councillor Henson. Any discussion on this? Sorry, Councillor Henson.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, if I could just direct perhaps Jen allude to just exactly this. I know I've had some conversations with gentlemen from the Wandai Rifle Club, and it's detailed there, but I'd like your input into this.
Through the chair. So council was invited by the three departments to sit in essentially a couple of teams meetings. How this was triggered was that the South Burnett Shooters Union applied for a minor infrastructure grant and were unsuccessful because they didn't have an appropriate level of tenure there. So the departments were talking sort of between themselves about how it all worked, and it basically they reached out to council and asked, to basically give them some local knowledge, of which I've assisted them as much as I possibly could. It was also important, I believe, for council to advocate for the Wandai Rifle Club and the Sporting Shooters Union to ensure that that facility is maintained and held. It's a hard-to-play sport, but a very important sport to our community, of every, facet within that sport. It's important to, our culture and our community, that responsible firearm ownership and that sort of shooting is maintained and protected, in our region. So we're just advocating for that. There's no reason to believe that any of those departments feel that they would remove that or that tenure arrangement there. They're merely trying to just refine it so it is a more seamless transition or a seamless tenure arrangement to ensure both clubs have opportunity to access and also opportunity to apply for grants to improve the facility.
Thank you. Is there any further questions on the matter? So we're voting on the report be received. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 14, page 78. Mr. CEO, is this yours? Jen's. To remove this as a motion? The report be received?
So which one you up to, councillor? 14.1, yep. Licence, it's the recommendation is on page 78, so, yeah.
So the recommendation, the committee recommends to council that South Bennett Regional Council, in accordance with, I feel like I've read this before, S2361C5, 7 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, enter into a licence agreement with the High Yield Aviation Proprietary Limited for Site 13 as part of Lot 5 on RP 83495 for a term of 5 years with the option of 5 years for a rental amount of $1,620 plus GST per annum with annual CPI reviews. South Burnett Regional Council delegates to the Chief Executive Officer the power to negotiate, finalise and execute the licence to occupy between Council and the Higher Yield Aviation Proprietary Limited on terms and conditions the Chief Executive Officer considers are satisfactory to Council. Would someone like to move that motion? Moved by Councillor Shoemaker, seconded Councillor Duff. Comments?
Yes, Jen, just wanted to comment the valuation report was really interesting in the way that we benchmarked our rates with other airports of like nature, or I just wondered if through that process I noted in the valuation reports it commented that we're unaware of the Kingaroy Airport if we'd actually adopted the recommendations that they had made previously about the Kingaroy Airport. I just couldn't think back that far, and I did go looking for a report or something that might tell me, and I couldn't remember. They said they made the recommendation for Kingaroy to be in the vicinity of $8 per square metre, and that at the moment it's currently in the order of $2 to $5 per square metre. I just wondered, might be a question I'll notice, just to confirm whether those recommendations were adopted, or I couldn't remember another valuation of this nature, but we read so many reports and I couldn't find it. So just was curious, more than anything.
So through the chair, so they would be referring to a previous valuation report. So how the licenses work though is that there's no, I guess, option for council to increase its rental unless the license expires. So at the moment, pretty much the licenses out at the Kingaroy Airport are running on terms at pre-negotiated rentals. A lot of them were negotiated before the local government regulation, so therefore they're at whatever was the applicable rate back there. So the regulation states that council has to negotiate a commercial valuation, and so therefore we got a value done on this particular site in Wondai, and this was what the valuer has come back with, and that's the price we've gone back to High Yield Aviation with, and they've in principle agreed subject to council approval. So that's the way it works, that's the mechanics of it. So unfortunately we can't just change them. Yeah. But as new people come in wanting more sites or licenses come up for expiry, we go back to that valuation, and that's our point of truth for negotiating a rental amount.
Yeah, thank you. That was certainly my understanding you had to wait for the lease to expire. It just was interesting to read in the report the note that they'd made the recommendation of $8 previously, and I wasn't sure if we'd actually adopted that in any of our new leases.
So to the best of my knowledge, we haven't had, this is the first new commercial
lease.
licence that we've had in an airport, certainly since my term as a leasing
Okay.
officer. Yep.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I just think that valuation report, it was really good detail just to understand how other regional airports sort of stack up against ours in terms of what we're charging. And yes, based on the rationale provided, I'm fully supportive of the recommendation of $5 per square metre per annum ex-GST for those sites. So thank you for bringing it forward.
Thank you. Any further comments? No further comments. We'll put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. So item number 15, portfolio, regional development, development services, community and social housing, page 95. Believe Councillor Shoemaker's your report.
Thank you, Councillor Erkins. In the development services space, there's been 62 customer requests and 56 building applications received. 34 of those have been council applications and 22 privately certified lodgements. The number of building applications projected to be received for council this financial year is 408 compared to the previous financial year of 402 and 441 for the 21-22 year. The number of privately certified applications projected to be received by council for the current financial year is 264 compared to 255 for the previous year and 257 for the 21-22 year. It's a demonstration of that continued growth period that we're experiencing, which is wonderful. Planning, in the planning front, during the month of July, we've received 106 customer requests, 14 planning applications, and attended no pre-lodgement meetings. The breakdown of applications, there was 4 material changes of use, 8 reconfigurations of a lot, 1 plan of sealing, 1 operational works, and 3 development incentive scheme applications. The number of planning applications projected to be received for the current financial year is 168 compared to 121 for the previous year and 109. So there's some strong growth in that space, which is good to see. Plumbing, the plumbing team has been doing a great job, received 17 customer requests and 19 plumbing and drainage applications. 9 of those for Class 1 and 10A domestic no sewer and 7 for Class 1 and 10A domestic sewer. So those are houses, if I've got correct. And 3 for other buildings, commercial buildings. So it's excellent to see some new houses in the pipeline there. Number of plumbing applications projected to be received by council this year is 228 compared to 236 for the previous year and 299 for the 21-22 year. This demonstration our team is working hard. The major planning scheme amendment, a revised version of the proposed major amendment was submitted to the Department of State Development, Infrastructure, Local Government and Planning on the 22nd of March 2023. The state's timeframes for its review expired in May without council receiving a response. Our consultant advises that such delay is a consistent local government experience and continues to follow up with the department about council's request. As of the 3rd of August, council's request remains within the internal approvals process of the department and with the minister. The next process is for the minister to give council notice of the outcome of the state interest review, whether council may proceed to publicly consult on the proposed major amendment of the planning scheme and the communication strategy that council must implement when proceeding. In the resources space, reliance on the assistance of external consultants in the planning team has reduced due to a full complement of staff. Yes, but it is still required due to the increase and frequency of customer request development applications, planning scheme review and internal council pressures. Additionally, planning staff are required to attend ad hoc discussions and stakeholder meetings in addition to existing and projected workloads. Just want to give a giant shout out to the team. Thank you so much, Dave and Daryl, for your work. I think it's certainly wonderful to see great progression in this space. Thank you so much, and move that my report be accepted.
Thank you, Councillor Shoemaker. Seconder, Councillor Potter. Discussion? I'd like to note that the number of housing applications, we all know our area is growing, and we know that, we talk about house sales, but to see those new houses being built, that's all new people that are coming in to our area. And I'm sure, like my fellow councillors, there are so many people, that new faces that you see in town. It's amazing. Be very interested to see at the next census how our community has grown. But I think, we really have, grown a fair bit. So if there's no further questions on that, we might put the matter to the vote. All those in favour of accepting the report? Carried unanimously. So, Development Services Update on page 97. The officer's recommendation that the Development Services Operational Update be received for information. Someone move that. Moved by Councillor Duff, seconded by Councillor Henson. Any comments on that? If there is no questions, again, just for anybody who is interested, all those figures are available on our website with the agenda. So please, if anyone's interested, make use of that and check that out. So all those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item 16 on page 101. So this is a request for sponsorship from the Red Earth Leadership Forum. And I know that I hear a lot about the Red Earth leadership, the Red Earth organisation, but personally, I don't really have much of an understanding of what they do. And this is an application for sponsorship for $25,000. I personally would like to see this. I'd like to move that we lay this on the table till the general meeting, and that we invite some members of the Red Earth Executive to come in and discuss with us possibly their role and what they have actually achieved. Because before voting on a $25,000 sponsorship that we don't have any funding put aside for, I really would like a better understanding of this. So I'd like to move that. I'm looking for someone to second the motion. Seconded by Councillor Duff. Is anyone? Oh, no discussion. So all those in favour? It's carried unanimously. So staff will organise. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Acting Chair, given you've passed that. So that would have went to the ordinary meeting in any case, so before it could be enacted. So we'll organise as soon as possible get together.
So item 17, Development Services Delegated Authority Reports, page 109. The officer's recommendation that the delegated authority report be received. Someone like to move that motion? Moved by Councillor Duff, seconded by Councillor Henson. Any comments on? So if there's no comments on, sorry, Councillor Shoemaker.
Just a question, just wanted to check when our next development briefing might be scheduled. Is it in the calendar? Just, yeah, would really like to, I know we get these reports every month and it's always exciting to you know, go over the documentation presented, but would really like to ask some questions about some of the work that's happening and think perhaps the briefing is the better location.
Yep, thanks, Councillor. As I was talking about the other day, just informally, but we're trialling a few different concepts with the Community Engagement Day. We've ended up with 3 community previous commitments on the August 21st Community Engagement Day. So they'll run from 1 to 3. We then have the community health, a bit of a catch up about the paperwork that's coming through on the community health building across the road, and a bit of a workshop on that. And then from 4 to 5 on the 21st will be the planning and development portfolio discussion, briefing, update, whichever name we choose to give it. And we're going to try, our aspiration is to actually roll that into the Mondays that was set for Community Engagement Day, so it'll become a regular diary date for those days.
Yeah, thank you. I would really appreciate the opportunity to unpack some of this further, so thank you.
And just a little bit of the why the Community Engagement Day, because if there is a development where we need to get a proponent in, we've got all council together, it's Community Engagement Day, so it just is a natural fold to, if we have to bring a community member in.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Are there any further questions on the matter? So I'll put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Next, 17.2, a list of correspondence pending completion of assessment report on page 286. So do we have someone move that the reports be accepted? Moved by Councillor Potter, seconded by Councillor Duff. And did you just second?
Yeah, I seconded, but I also just want to ask a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Acting Chair. Just wanting to know what's happening with the planning scheme. Is it still being held up in the state government? Has there been any advance on that?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. Yeah, so there's a brief update provided in the portfolio report. So yeah, it's currently still sitting with the state, and we are waiting further advice from them.
Yep. And the other one through you, Madam Chair, is just wanting to know with the Windra Hickory one, what's happening with that one? Is that still being followed up? You know, they had to do those particular roadworks and things. Where's that at?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. I mean, we can get a more current update, but I understand that Transport Main Roads were doing some upgrades to an intersection, and they couldn't undertake the works until TMR had finished that section, which was this month. So I think I've asked the planning team to just follow that up to see where that one is, and we can certainly cover that off as part of the planning information sessions.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any? Oh, sorry, Councillor Potter.
Yeah, thank you. On page 287, number 18, it says material change of use, short-term accommodation, 24 by accommodation units, 27 to 31 Pound Street, Kingaroy. That's not our block. That's not council's block, is it? And also, can I add on top of that, it's actually really good to see there's a lot of other units being built in the area, which are really needed. So I think that's wonderful. But I'm just curious about the material change of use for those 24 by accommodation units.
Page 287, item 18.
Pound Street. Sorry, through your chair, Councillor, I'd have to look at that application just to check the property, the address. 27 to 31 Pound Street. I'm not sure. which
Can
one
I,
would be
if I
Pound
can
Street.
help, David, it's not ours. So yeah, actually it'll be an interesting one, which one comes up, but just to clarify, that's not ours. So if that was the intent of the question, I don't have much other detail on it, but it's not ours.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Any further questions on any of those items? You might put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. The next item is 18, questions on notice. 18.1, the Kingaroy Engagement Centre, which I think was my question. Has there been any progress on forming a working group to establish a Kingaroy Youth Engagement Centre? The response that to date, officers are currently investigating the current number and volume of youth-related projects that are currently being delivered across the whole of the region by a wide range of stakeholders. It's expected that this information will form the basis for a report to be provided to the September Liveability. The recommendation, the response to question regarding the progress by the working group raised by Councillor Erkins be received and noted. I move that that's received, seconded by Councillor Duff. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. The second, the facade improvements. Question, how many facade improvements applications have been received for Scott Street, Wandai? And the response is below. There are 4 applications and all were approved. The recommendation, the response to the question regarding facade improvement application raised by Councillor Henson be received and noted. Councillor Henson, would you be happy with that?
Yeah, thank you, Acting Chair. Through you, thank you. That's a great response and great to see that those business houses have done that. And look, if you don't mind, another question perhaps on notice, unless someone can tell me, has that funding all been used up for the facades?
Through the chair, yes, it has. All their facade improvement funding has been expended and the local built small grants program. So those programs are all closed. So now the grants office is working with each applicant to finalise their project and submit successful acquittals.
Yeah,
Councillor Jones?
I guess, look, it's probably not the appropriate time, but I just want to congratulate anybody that's been a part of that facade program for delivering that money and the grant funding to everyone across the region. I think everyone's been equally treated and each town and village has received a fair share. And can I just say that I was in Blackbutt yesterday, and Blackbutt, the whole front of Blackbutt shops will be completed with an upgrade by the end of September, and it is largely contributed to the facade program. So congratulations to anybody that's had a part in delivering that money right across the whole region, and it's really starting to show benefits in all our towns and villages, so congratulations.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for that motion? Seconded by Councillor Jones. There's no further comments on that. We'll put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Question on notice 18.3 on page 291. So the question, how many ratepayers with the rates debt have legal fees added? At the end of July 2023, the number of rateable properties who currently still have rates outstanding and have legal fees as part of their debt are 214. This is approximately 14% of properties that are currently overdue. I move that the response to the question regarding legal fees raised by myself be received and noted. Somebody like to second that? Councillor Henson. Discussion? Councillor Duff.
Thank you, Acting Chair. Just, I thought that, concerned about the 14%, because I thought our target was to try and keep that around 10%. I'm not sure if that, of that figure, but that seems quite alarming. I'm just wanting to get a comment from the General Manager.
Through you, Madam Chair. Councillor, that's, that 14% doesn't reflect our actual overdue ratepayers, which is the target is 7%. This one here, the question I noticed was how many of the overdue ones on payment plans have got interest added to that, and that's what that response is.
Thank you, yeah.
If there's no further discussion, we'll put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Sorry. I believe now we're moving into confidential section. The council considers the confidential reports listed below in a meeting closed to the public in accordance with section 254J of the local government regulation. 19, do I read those? 19.1 legal update on planning matter before Planning and Environment Court. Read all through it or just see? This matter is considered to be confidential under section 254J of the local government regulation. The council is satisfied that discussion of this matter in an open meeting would, on balance, be contrary to the public interest, as it deals with legal advice obtained by the local government or legal proceedings involving the local government, including, for example, leading proceedings that may be taken by or against the local government. 19.2, Visit South Burnett 2023-24 agreement. The matter is considered to be confidential under section 254G of the local government regulation, and the council is satisfied that discussion of this matter in an open meeting would, on balance, be contrary to the public interest, as it deals with negotiations relating to a commercial matter involving the local government, for which a public discussion would be likely to prejudice the interests of the local government. We have someone move that we move into confidential. Moved by Councillor Potter, seconded by Councillor Duff. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. All those in favour? Okay. So the first the council is satisfied. Is that, am I on the right? I don't have it here. So we're on to 19.1. We'd like to, someone move that the report be received for information. 19.1, moved by Councillor Duff, seconded by Councillor Henson. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. The 19.2, Visit South Burnett 2023-24. Do I read that motion? Okay, the motion is, the officer's recommendation is that the committee recommend to council that the South Burnett Regional Council enters into an agreement as amended with Visit South Burnett Incorporated for the 2023-24 financial year for the purpose of delivering tourism incentives, promotion of attractions and experiences, and development of planning documents that support sustainable tourism in the region. 2, South Burnett Regional Council provides funding to the value of $70,000 plus GST. And 3, South Burnett Regional Council delegates to the Chief Executive Officer the power to negotiate, finalise and execute the agreement between Council and Visit South Burnett Incorporated on terms and conditions the South the Chief Executive Officer reasonably considers are satisfactory to Council. Someone move that motion. Councillor Duff, seconded Councillor Potter. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. And we'll close the meeting at 11:47.